Alright, in this tutorial, I want to UV unwrap sort of this arch shape that's here. So I'm going to right click and say hide on, oops, I'm going to say hide unselected. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to go in, I'm going to select all this, and I'm going to assign it ID 3, which is my strip texture. Now if I went in there and said UVW map, set it to box, and squared it off to like 512 by 512 by 512, which is way too small, so let's just go into Gizmo and scale that up. So really, ideally what we would get is we would get one of these details and we would get it to rotate around the arch. Now, as it is right now, that would be really difficult, take a lot of work, and there's some tricks we can go work around that. I'm going to show you how. So I'm going to select these polygons in the center and say detach as a clone. And then I'm going to just select only them. And I'm going to move them down to 0 in the world. So the origin is at 0. I'm going to come in here to element and grab all that and move that to 0. All right, so now this is all kind of centered in the world. If I go out to my quad views and hit the grid, you could see that it's all centered. So my next step is I need to make this square, because I'm going to kind of go ahead and just move it along. So let's see. Let's grab edge. I'm just going to double click on an edge and align it along. Oops, let's zoom out here. I'm going to align it along Y. Perfect. I'm just going to do that for each of these edges. Now if I hit semicolon, it's going to repeat my last action. So I can just go through, oops, I can go through, and if I double click on each edge, I can align them like that. I just need to make sure I get all of them, so that includes the one in the back. Okay, so now I've totally straightened this out. And I'm just going to use border to grab the border here and align that. Let's say, okay, X, perfect, and X here. Okay. So now I'm going to take this shape, grab the whole thing, and in element, I'm just going to kind of scale it out, like so. And now I'll take this edge. Before I do anything, I'm going to go in here and unwrap UVW, open that up. And so now I'm going to want to UV unwrap this. So let's go in, let's select our strip texture. There it is. Okay. So I'm going to take this. Here's the kind of that front part. And so let's get the really decorative part. Oops. I'm going to hit F2 so I can see what I'm selecting. There they are. Perfect. I'm going to break those and move them over here and say tools, relax by polygon. I could even just probably peel it. There we go. And relax. Okay. And now the rest of this guy, let's do edit. Nope. Select inverted polygon. Nope. I'm going to undo and just up here in the 3D viewport say select invert. And then that, I'm going to planar map, because that's going to stitch everything back together, and say best align, and then peel, and then relax that. Okay, so first things first, I want to get kind of my trim now. I could maybe do something where I wrap it around. So I'm going to go into edge, select one. So that's the edge, that's that edge. So let's just hit stitch. Grab the edge next to it and hit stitch. And I'm going to grab the whole thing and relax that. Okay. So now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this bottommost corner, kind of line it up right underneath there under that detail. I'm going to go into the freeform. I'm going to hold control, grab this top corner and drag it up. And you see all of this area here, right? This sort of chunk, I want that to kind of fill that space. So I'm going to hold control and just keep dragging that up until it fills kind of that space there. Alright, it's probably almost where I want. That's probably good. I can even go It's probably close enough that I could just grab these vertices and just drag that up a little bit. There we go. Okay. So now let's kind of take a look at what we got. What does that look like on here? All right. So here we have this piece. It's tiled across. The other texture is kind of wrapping all the way around the sides. So I got this really nice detailed chunk that's tiling here. So let's go in. I'm going to right click and convert that to poly. So basically I've UV mapped this nice decorative piece, right? Almost like a really nice edge. I'm going to grab these two sides and just connect them a lot. Let's just say 32. No, that's way too much. 16? That should be good. Okay. So if you look, I got this one piece. It's very detailed. It's all textured. So let's go look at our arch here in the front. And what I'm going to do is come to create. And under shapes, I'm going to make a circle. And I just want to move it over. And I want this circle to kind of match the overall shape there. I could even go into interpolation and set it to 12 to make it even a little bit rounder. Okay. And then let's move this forward so it kind of is centered here. All right. Now I can take my new shape, and maybe what I'll do is I'm going to right click and say clone as a copy, say OK. And now I'm going to put a modifier called PathDeform World Space. I'm going to click Pick Path. I'm going to pick this path here. You see how the shape is now deformed, and what I need to do is click Move to Path, and then I need to check the axis because I really want my shape to be deforming along that path like this. So let's go in and we'll do shaded. Alright, so if we orbit around here in perspective, we see it's kind of facing the wrong direction. So let's click flip, and that actually flips it so it's facing the proper direction. We may need to kind of move it out a little bit. There it is. And now we can do, there's a couple things we can do. We can go through and adjust it by moving it. Alright. We can even go in and by adjusting the position of the object, and it may take a little bit of trial and error to make sure you're going the right direction. We could sort of go through, we can also, you could stretch if you want to get it rounder, or if it's a little bit too distorted. You could adjust the percentage along the path it sits. Like say we want to get it so that these detailed pieces are right along the edge. We can definitely get that set up. Like if that's sitting right at the base, and so I want to stretch that out a little bit. Oops. Move him back down. Or up. There we go. So it's kind of looking at, you could also type. There we go. Okay. So now I have this really nice shape here. I can collapse 2. That makes it permanent. And I could grab my entire shape here and turn on slice plane, which I'm going to go into rotate, make sure my angle snap is on, rotate at 90 degrees. And I'm just going to lower it so it's kind of right about the same spot and hit slice. And now all this bottom part I don't really need, so I'm going to delete it. Alright, let's unhide all. There's my arch. Here's this other nice arch piece. If I right click and say hide unselected, there it is. There's our arch. There's the nice UV Unwrap trim wrapping all the way around it. I can attach this piece to it, and then I'm actually going to just detach it, put a symmetry on it, and I just need to change it to Z so it flips over to the other side. So now I can go back to my main arch and reattach the piece to it. Right, and so that's how we could get a trim that wraps around there. Right, now that I did it kind of complicated, you could just have a simple long polygon that's cut and you subdivide it like that. But that's effectively the process of using PathDeform to get some of these nice curved arch pieces.